Welcome to this video. This is about day 3 of the World Rapid Championships in Dubai, and I'm going to cover a couple of games that were absolutely most important for the final result. It's tricky to pick games because they simply played so many games, have this huge field, as Carlsen stated after the tournament, probably the strongest Swiss tournament type of event in history. This is certainly true. There were, it's an amazing field. So let's start, and I'm going to state something right away. I also looked at Nakamura's games in the first 2 videos. He's a huge fan favorite and always up to some interesting games. I don't feature one of his games in this video. It's simply that I want to concentrate on the final result. And Nakamura, unfortunately, directly in round 11, the first game that was played in this on this day 3, he lost his game against Rajabov in a complicated position. He made a big mistake or calculation misstep, and after losing this game, he was basically out of it. He was simply too far behind to still get to the absolute top boards. For example, he didn't play Carlsen, which is unfortunate, as those games are always very interesting. Okay, so we look at the round 11 game here between Aronian and Carlsen, obviously very crucial matchup. And we have the Rogozin again, the Rogozin variation of the Queen's Gambit declined. The sort of Queen's Gambit Nimzo hybrid, which is very popular nowadays. This line is not seen that often with h6, bishop f6 and queen f6, but it is a quite solid way to play. It's in fact something that I had looked at and played myself a couple of years ago. When I looked at the Rogozin, while it was not really that popular, I also studied exactly this line, line here. Black gets the bishop pair with bishop f6, queen f6. He has gained the bishops, but the disadvantage is you're not very well developed. When I had studied this, I think I mostly looked at the queen retreat to d8. The problem is white is very well developed, and Black enjoys the bishops, but the c8 bishop, it's not that great at the moment. It's a long-term asset, but tricky to activate. Yeah, Carlsen played queen to f5. This is a bit more active, trying to get this knight out of the center. This is what happened. And now ed4. Yeah, white has got the IQP, but he's got a huge edge in development. So it's certainly a position that white is not afraid to play or shouldn't go for. It's just nice. Every piece is in play. It's still, however, a fairly normal position. Black has not done anything wrong, but we rather quickly come to a critical situation right here. Right here it seems that Black needs to be somewhat modest in his play, and should set up something like, let's say, bishop c8 and bishop to b8, just to withdraw those bishops, maybe get the queen back to c7 at the right moment. Of course, it's tricky. The rook is on c3 opposed to the queen. But it seems that what he played b5, Carlsen, which is an attractive looking move. Of course, you want to play actively, but it seems that this is not really that great. After that, Aronian seems to gain the upper hand. Retreated to d3. Yeah, what about the capture? This is the trick. Yeah, Black is using this discovered attack and the back rank weakness. Something like that. It's very ugly for white. Even queen b5 is possible. I wanted to go rook d1, queen b5, but queen b5 is possible due to the weak back rank. Here Black is just better in this position. So this is not the way to go. Bishop d3 is perfectly fine. And the whole thing here, the whole b5 business, only really makes some sense in connection with b4. And this is what is played now. The drawback of b5 in general is this weakness, or this weaknesses on the c file, especially c5. A rook can come here, a knight can come here. And one problem is, once the knight moves, there are additional issues. We can look at that. And right now, Aronian played rook c5. It seems that rook c4 was a very good alternative, which is quickly given by a chess engine. However, this is one of those lines that are very computerish and very difficult to figure out for a human, especially in rapid play. The idea is, after b takes a3, which looks like the normal move, white has a very strong response, knight c5. And this is setting up a double threat. Knight b7 winning the exchange, and queen e4 with mate on h7 and attacking the loose bishop on f4. This is also why instead of b5, probably one of those retreats like bishop to b8 was advisable. This bishop is somewhat loose on f4. This position, it seems, is very good for white, but as mentioned, it was really tough to figure out, especially considering that black also has a move like a2, which should be just answered with the very cold-blooded rook a1, and nothing has changed basically. Queen e4 is also interesting, but rook a1 is also a simple reply. It seems that this was really good for white, but it wasn't played. Rook c5, queen b6, and g3, pushing the bishop back, and went to b8. And here there was a very interesting possibility for white, which however was rejected by Aronian. He played queen to e3. This move is understandable if you, or more understandable if you see the alternative. That also was very interesting, and this was rook to h5. A very aggressive move, trying to go for a kingside attack, which just makes some sense. White has a huge concentration of forces on the king side, the knights here and the bishop. So it makes sense to go for an attack on the king. The idea of rook h5 is in fact the very direct knight f6 check and then queen e3. It is very, very dangerous. If black plays something like this, an innocent looking move, then knight f6 is directly winning the game. Gf, queen e3, and black can resign, as queen h6 and mate is absolutely unavoidable. It's quite remarkable how quick this is unfolding. Black here is busted. He cannot defend this in any way. Something like this. It's just a mate here. This means that black really must attend to this threat on knight f6. One possibility is rook e8, for example, and then queen d2 or queen e3 is interesting. Again threatening this, and maybe threatening rook h6. It leads to a very, very dangerous attack. Something like this is
check
given by Houdini. Very tough to figure any of this out. Something like this seems to be the best line leading to an edge for white, but it's not very realistic to calculate this in a rapid game. It was, however, an interesting alternative, rook h5. After, and probably something that leads to an edge, by the way. Queen e3, the move Aronian played, is not really leading to anything, but I really don't want to be any more critical, because this is rapid chess, and to look at this with a computer and then point out, this was wrong, is totally unrealistic. It's simply not possible to play close to perfect chess with very limited time in such tactical positions. f5, f4. This is the counterplay that Carlsen needs here. Only way to continue this. Now queen c1 back. Queen was attacked, counter-attacking, and now black must retreat his queen. Rook c5, setting up the pin. It seems that this position, while being super sharp, seems to be equal. After f takes g3, now Aronian played the very principled and strong move knight to e5.
Check.
And it came to this. Yeah, now we have a huge pinning situation on c6. But it all seems to be okay for black, really. It holds. Played queen to d6. And white now took here. Yeah, of course, white cannot take with the knight. There's a
check. Checkmate.
Quick mate coming, so only can take with the rook. Takes, queen takes. And here we have a very, very critical situation. Carlsen first took here. Here, in fact, queen e4 was quite good, but okay, cannot look at all lines. He recaptured, yeah? And it seems that right here, Carlsen commits a mistake. And this is rook f4. It's, of course, very tough to play this position. It's pure tactics, and you can easily stumble, which is happening here with rook f4. It seems that queen e7 was somewhat better, but let's look what happened here. The problem is the reply bishop to c4, which covers d4 and attacks e6, and black really does not have any great answer to that. He played now g5, which loses, but queen takes c6, knight c6 is nothing that looks particularly attractive. It probably needed to be done, there's simply nothing else, but if you, this is very typical, you calculate this and see, okay, well, this is terrible for me. I should do something else, and then you decide on the other move. However, this is not directly lost. The other thing is losing directly, but one needs to admit in a very, very more complicated way. Aronian took, which is right. King to g7, and now the strong move rook to b1, introducing the rook b7 idea. This is really the best play. Rook takes here, check, and black must advance, cannot go back. Yeah, idea, very, very wild position, of course, and very, very difficult to play. I unfortunately don't know the clock times, so hard to tell how much time Aronian has had left here. Every piece is hanging basically, and yeah, well, it's no surprise with the black king being on the run that there is some winning continuation. It is, however, not at all easy. If we look at what the computer points out, for example, the absolutely strongest continuation is bishop to b3, but this is very, very difficult to calculate. Yeah, it's almost like a study like mating problem. It's bishop b3 is the strongest move. It's based on the fact that, well, queen c6, knight c6 is winning. Yeah, there's even an additional fork here. And if black takes it with the king, there is the absolutely murderous move queen c3, setting up a pin and now threatening stuff like queen e3 or queen g3. Yeah, especially, or rook b5. There's a ton of threats here, and it seems that it's directly winning for white. Yeah, how realistic is it to find that? Yeah, I don't know. Very, very difficult. There were some other good lines. Bishop h3, it seems to win as well. Yeah, but it's a similar idea. You give up basically this e5 knight and now go for a mating attack. Here there are tricks like queen d5, rook b5 in the mix.
Check.
White wins the queen. Very difficult to do. What Aronian played actually is a very human decision. He spotted the move queen f3 check, and he saw that, okay, I have a draw right in the back. I cannot lose it because there are so many checks with the king on the open board that there will always be a draw by perpetual check, and maybe there is a win. It's a very, very practical and understandable decision. It's only for Aronian the sad case that it is a draw now. Black can take everything off here, even running to e5 with the king.
Check.
And now he can give up and must give up the queen.
Check.
And there is simply no win. It's just like that. White has a ton of checks and can even get the pawn here on h6, but there is no win available. The main problem being that you don't get the knight really into the attack. You can, you can give a check like he did here. Gave this check. But the problem is, if you take here, I think he didn't do that, right? He played the queen check. If you take here, then black is getting this counter attack, and just I think this is more precise. And then it's a perpetual check now given by black. Yeah, for Aronian, very unfortunate. He had a really good position and a winning position tactically, but at the end we came to this, and here white has no serious winning chance after this. Black is just holding this position without any big effort. So a draw in this very crucial game, where Carlsen was somewhat lucky as he was lost, but it was so complicated position that it is very understandable that both sides made some mistake. It's very understandable. Okay, the next game I'm going to look at is a very important game, obviously, and it's the matchup that is a sort of appetizer for the World Championship match to be held later. It seems in Sochi in Russia, between Vishy Anand as a challenger and Carlsen. So let's look at this game. Yeah, Carlsen had white in this matchup. Anand was directly trailing him. Very crucial game. And Carlsen had the white pieces. I don't want to look at the first couple of moves in any detail. It was really not much to talk about. We had a Slav, and Carlsen went for the exchange variation, a line that recently gained some popularity. I think one reason is that the other lines also don't give white much. It's against the Slav. And here there have been some recent developments to try to push a little, mostly connected with an early rook c1 and queen b3. But in this game, it's simply a case of, I think, wrong preparation. I don't know. What happened here is that right here, white has gained a pawn, but Anand can play queen c8, and here white is already worse. I mean, something must have gone terribly wrong here in Carlsen's preparation. Maybe he just made something. He played something wrong in terms of move order. It's already difficult here. You need to take b7 basically, otherwise you're simply worse with your pawn on c3. Maybe the whole position is not... I mean, what I can tell you is that there is this variation. There's this variation without rook c1, rook c8 inserted. And this is very much equal. And now we have the same affair, but with those moves in. And one problem is here, if white takes with the piece, which what he usually wants to do, there is a6. Yeah, and well, this is obviously not possible without the rooks being played. Here, white flat out loses. So you need to drop it back, and then this is not really great. Yeah, black is coming with queen a5, check, and g5, and so on. It's just not on. So probably he confused something and now was in this really sad position. Yeah, this is basically best play. Now we have a total symmetry, with black being the more active side. However, Carlsen is a good defender. We know that, and rather quickly it turned out that there is not that much happening. This h4 g4 business was a very good idea, getting counterplay here against black's king, or possibly go to the 7th rank. And we quickly come to this situation where a material transformation is now happening. After bishop e4, black is threatening rook c1 checkmate, so that after this, white is basically forced to play f3. Yeah, and it seems that after this move, it is equal, but it's still tricky. And we see that in the game that both sides can easily stumble. Anand here
check,
took on f3 with the knight, which is, yeah, it's probably okay. There also was the check here first,
check,
and then take. It's comparable, this thing.
check,
Yeah, maybe this was even better.
check,
What he did is okay. It is only. I mean, it should lead to a draw. To put it on the table straight away. What I'm thinking, it should lead to a draw.
check,
He played rook c1. Maybe it was better to first take here. It is, as mentioned, quite drawish. Very likely white will lose further pawns, especially the a pawn. Something like this here. Yeah, black will get the a pawn and then have a passer here himself. In the game,
check,
to look at this, we have a critical position here. I think here Anand really should play king f7 to get
check,
his king into play and then push the a pawn. What he did is he played the a pawn right away, and now king d1 was played, quite surprisingly. Instead of king d1, I thought that you can simply take it here. The idea is to put the knight on f4 and sacrifice your bishop for the pawn. This is, I think, a position where only white can be better, but it wasn't played. Yeah, if we look at this, for example, a3, and I'm going to take it. Yeah, white has this idea to put pressure on d5, maybe win it, and we have a couple of pawns. White can never lose ever, and well, maybe you can try to win this. He played king d1 though, approaching the a pawn, and after rook b2, played knight e6. Yeah, and well, you don't need to be a tactical genius. My knight e6 has a problem. So rook b6 was coming, attacking two pieces. This isn't the end of the world. White can still relatively comfortably draw this position. But the weird thing is, probably Carlsen has just overlooked the whole thing with rook b6, which seems weird, I know, but he makes a really substantial mistake now. If you here just play king c2, yeah, and ask black, okay, you're going to take one of the pieces, then you still have a pretty easy draw. Rook c5, knight a4 is a very easy draw. You get the a pawn, simply not possible to keep, and then you exchange all pawns and can draw rook against knight. It's very easy. Yeah, I can put it on the board if this was a bit too quick. Let's say this, yeah. I'm going here, take this pawn, and then I'm going to play e4 later, get rid of the last pawn. I mean, I don't really need to do this, but this is the least I can do. I can play e4, exchange it, and then draw with a single knight against the rook. After this, if black plays a3, you can take with the bishop, rook takes, and then just basically set up a fortress. This is also, oh wait, I should be a bit more precise, I guess. Maybe here, so that I don't lose the g pawn. Yeah, this is probably better. So I can play g5 and possibly bishop e7 f6. It depends on the concrete position. This still has very good drawing chances. I mean, it really should draw, I think. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, but this is what you should have tried. It can still happen that you are maybe zugzwanged in the long run. Now that I look at it a bit more carefully. I had looked at this line in my preparation, but it can happen that black can put it here and advance the king, and it can happen that you lose the g pawn. Yeah, it's not easy at all. The thing is, if you look at the game, he played this move, after which Anand just took it, and now he played rook b6 to march the a-pawn, and here this is a very simple win. I mean, like very easy. White takes d5, okay, but you just push the a-pawn and win the game. Very straightforward. Yeah, he had a somewhat quicker way, but it was enough. Black is just picking up everything here and keeps the pawn. So we can, for the sake of completeness, put these additional moves on the board. Yeah, Black needs to get the king near, and here it was accomplished. King b3, king d2 wins the knight. It's a very disappointing game for the world champion, and a bit weird. He was probably very irritated by the whole opening business. I don't know, and then overlooked one of those moves here. Maybe even rook b6. I know it looks like very simple, and he shouldn't overlook it, but you never know. It's very long event, and you're bound to have some sort of blunder in a game. So Anand won this game. Certainly important for him, even if it wasn't a particularly great or brilliant game, but important for him to get a win against Carlsen, which has been a while. I mean, considering all time controls, I read somewhere at close to 3 years that he beat him, so very important win. And yeah, it pretty much opened up the whole tournament, as Carlsen's loss led to a couple of players catching up. And in the penultimate round, in round 14, there was basically the deciding game of the whole event. Let me load this. All right, it's loaded. Carlsen against Grischuk. Yeah, Grischuk, a well-known, strong, rapid and blitz player. And well, not especially bad in classical time controls as well, but he's pretty much known for his yeah, quick play and good flow of play in with little time on the clock. Let's see what happened. Carlsen plays d4, and we have a king's Indian, so a very fighting opening. And Carlsen plays the Zemisch. He sometimes does that. It's not one of his main lines maybe, but he plays a wide range of openings really. However, we quite quickly come to a position where I'm not sure how white should play. This a6 c6 setup is an interesting way to play as black, especially if you don't want a long theoretical discussion. Black intends to this was a bit too quick. Intends to play b5 here. So if white plays a normal move, let's say queen here or something, then b5 is coming, and you really want to react to that. If black gets time, he might get some nice play on the queen side. This also is discouraging long castling a bit, yeah, with b5 quickly coming. Carlsen plays the move c5, which nowadays is probably the main continuation here. A move that has been played a number of times by the biggest expert on the Zemisch, which is Alexei Dreyev from Russia. He's a fantastic player. If you want to study the Zemisch, just study Dreyev. He really knows what he's doing. Yeah, c5 has a good idea. It wants to fix the b pawn. Something like this, for example, would be from a strategic point of view very, very questionable, as black has those dark holes on the queen side and no activity whatsoever. White has ideas, not like this. Someone suggested I need a new mouse. I guess it's probably I need a new hand or something. The mouse is fine. I don't know. This is the type of routes that white's knights can go to, especially in an endgame, and it does not look very good for black. You want your pawns flexible. Played b5, which is a better choice, after which white took and played knight f4. This is, as I have looked up later, a totally normal continuation, and pretty much what I also have played in games, I guess, in blitz games. The thing is, however, that Carlsen's next move, it looks totally normal, but it seems to be a very serious mistake. He played bishop to e2. A totally normal looking move, but it has a problem. It seems that queen d2 is the better choice here. It should lead to position, yeah, typically being between equal, slightly better for white. It's pretty normal, this position. But bishop e2, let's look at the game. Maybe you can figure out and take this as a small puzzle, a small exercise. Why is this move questionable? Find the best continuation for black. I'll be silent for a couple of seconds so that you have the chance to pause the video. Yeah, black has a very strong continuation, and this is b4. b4, and you need to see the second move. After knight a4, now comes the big point, knight d5. And this is really ugly for white to meet. Yeah, black uses this great situation on the e-file. You cannot take with the pawn. Rook e3 leads to a disastrously bad position for white. You have given up your dark squared bishop, and you're going to fall apart on the dark squares, especially considering how white's knights are positioned. This is flat out losing for white. So he cannot take there. Yeah, if you take with the knight, you see that suddenly the c6 pawn is transferred to d5, putting pressure on e4. Yeah, and look at this knight, very silly positioned. Black here also is clearly better. So Carlsen was in big trouble right out of the opening here. He yeah, must have confused something, I don't know. He often gets in slight problems in the opening, but this is really substantial. Yeah, he at the end needed to play bishop c1. There is nothing better. And now Grischuk retreated to b6, which was fine. It's a good move. He also had the capture on f4 and d5. Also an interesting continuation, directly attacking e4. This, however, gives up some control on the dark squares. Maybe he didn't want to go for that. It was, however, interesting to play. Knight b6 also was a good choice. It's basically attacking d4. Yeah, black is threatening to take on a4 and on d4. So you probably must do that. And now Carlsen returned to e3. Not good news, yeah, playing all this back and forth bishop moves. d5 now played by Grischuk, again renewing this this idea. And note that a move like e5, looking totally normal, is not possible due to this tactical trick. And black wins directly. Yeah, so you cannot advance it, you cannot take it, and it's hanging. Just a very bad situation. He played queen to d3. And now Grischuk took on e4. a5 was a very serious alternative, intending bishop a6. Maybe this was even the better move. It's difficult, very attractive position for black in any case, and you have many options that that make a good impression. Yeah, he took and played a5. No? Black's idea now is to put the center under fire. White still has a very unstable central position, and we see that after these moves. It seems, by the way, that instead of rook d1, e5, as recommended by the engines, is better. But it's a very, very ugly move to play. You don't want to get into this with tempo, and I can very much understand why Carlsen didn't do it. Yeah, in any case, we have a position where white is on the ropes. It's no matter how you want to put it, the center is very vulnerable, the dark squares are vulnerable, and black simply has good pieces. The next thing happening is you get a direct attack on this. And this, in addition, there is knight g4. Yeah, it gets dramatic now. Knight g3 played and knight g4. Yeah, black is perfectly placed. Yeah, everything's nicely centralized, and the simple threat is to take here and take on d4. Yeah, e5. And there was really no choice. You need to play this to cover d4, at least for the time being. And the next move by Grischuk is very thematic. Played c5, very strong move, attacking white's weakness and breaking up the center. And it leads to also a liberation of the g7 bishop in a way, so that after this the bishop will come out quickly and not look at this little pawn chain d4, e5. Yeah, exchange something here, and now bishop takes e5. Yeah, and now we have this threat also in the game. g3. It's really not defensible anymore. He took, and now king takes. Yeah, this looks very very ugly. King takes, but what else is there? Rook takes is too easy. Queen takes is the same thing. And if you take with a knight, some move like this is just very strong. It gets on the long diagonal, and white really does not have a good move here. If we look at this, for example, trying to
check,
trade, you can just take here and threaten bishop d4 with a total exchange into a king and pawn endgame. Yeah, he took with the king. Maybe the best chance to confuse matters, but there is really not much to do.
Check.
Yeah, and bishop d4 played now by Grischuk. It would have been interesting to learn again what the time was here. Instead of bishop d4, there also was the move f5. And this seems to win very convincingly, actually. Yeah, the knight is attacked on his central post, and it really does not have anything great to go to. White can
check,
try with this type of stuff, but
check.
This is a very simple win.
Check, check, check.
And this is mate next move. Yeah, white can try this, but here you can just take.
Check.
And black will win this with the pawn and the direct attack on the king. F5 was it seems the cleanest solution. There is also after
Check.
this there's additional idea king f8, maybe even stronger. So that after knight d6, bishop takes, there is no check available. F5 was a pretty direct win. The check, however, is not spoiling much. Now f5. Yeah, he just delayed it for one move. There also was rook d5, intending rook f5. It seems that this wins as well. f5, knight f2, and takes here. So a keep it simple approach, take the pawn and keep all positional advantages intact.
Check. Check.
Yeah, white is trying to escape with the king at least, so that you're not checkmated. Bishop to d4 and rook a5. Yeah, and this is a very crucial position for the whole event actually. As here Grischuk had a number of wins. I mean, f5 earlier was easier to win, and probably the game would have not lasted much longer. Then Grischuk would have taken the lead before the last round. Yeah, here queen queen d7 was a strong move, intending to play f4 or f4 directly. It seems that f4 directly is the most forceful one, but here we are already in the territory where it is tricky for a human to figure out. The computer is completely unfazed by all of this and says -3, -4, but still you need to play this. It's not easy at all, especially
check
with black's king also being slightly insecure. The big problem here is that white can never really take, as this is
check, check,
leading to disaster. And when white is not able to take, the question is, what are you actually playing? The knight is hanging. And after this, black is moving the pawn forward. But to me, it is not a very intuitive thing to play. Play f4 and f3. You want to get to the king. Yeah, this is a total win, but still, you need to do it. And Grischuk didn't play it. There were more wins. I mean, f4 was a win, queen d7 was a win. I think there were one or two more moves that would have won instantly, or not instantly, but yeah, would have kept the very big advantage and probably would have won. He chose queen to b6, which looks very normal, attacks the rook and attacks the knight. It's sort of a double attack. But the bad thing about the move is it's not winning anymore now. White has queen c4. Rook b5, and this seems to save the whole thing. Very, very close call, but it seems to be okay now for white. Materially speaking, it's okay anyway. We are on equal terms here, 4 pawns each, and white is just about having the coordination that he needs. There is no mate. The king is insecure, but there is no mate coming. He tried it with g5, but rook d5 is the saving move here, getting the rooks off. And here it is not that bad anymore. The knight on d3 is protecting b2, and the king on g2 later is pretty safe, as the queen on d5 covers the long diagonal. Here we are already in the territory of being at an equal position. It should be a draw actually. Knight b4, bishop b2, and a4. Yeah, white has the a pawn. But it does not look that dangerous in any case. f4 is a huge counterplay here with the f pawn. And all this is perfectly okay. And now Grischuk, after some moves.
Check. Check.
Here launched the h pawn. Also the right decision. You want to use all your forces. The thing is, a5 was played. And right now, he played a very, very risky move, I guess. Just from a strategical point of view, a very risky move. And it makes life very difficult for him. I think if he just plays g4 here, he played h4 here, but if he plays g4, he always has this counterplay idea on the light squares, like this with the draw. Yeah, let's say a6, you go... I can play bishop a7, but this is also possible with this this counterplay idea. White can give some checks, but it is not leading too much. Yeah, let's say a check here. You can even just retreat. Yeah, the important thing is that the pawns are on light squares, and we see the big difference in the game. He played h4. After which Carlsen could play g4. Yeah, now the pawns here are fixed on dark squares and can actually be attacked by the knight. And the problem is that while h4 looks aggressive, it puts a pawn near the king. The crucial squares like g3 are all protected here. And yeah, the thing is, this position now needs a very, very strong move for Grischuk to be played. Yeah, and the problem is it's close to impossible to find it if you don't have lots of time on your hands, because it's so counterintuitive, and to actually recognize why this is saving is basically impossible. I can tell you what he played. He played bishop to e3, and this is losing the game. In fact, it is losing. No way back after that. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to treat this as an exercise, impossible to do. I'll just show the move. Bishop c5 is the computer move that keeps this game going. And yeah, who is going to find that? It's just a very, very strange move in a way. Okay, there are simple points about this. If the knight takes,
check,
we're having a perpetual check. Okay, this is
check,
pretty much understandable. If the queen takes, okay,
check,
we also have a perpetual check. So it's clear that the captures are really not the problem. But why exactly is bishop c5 any better than, let's say, bishop e3? Okay, let's consider what happened in the game. We can look at this briefly.
check,
He had this move was played and king to g6. And now
check,
queen d6. And we got into an endgame where the a pawn at the end promoted. So the queen trade here is the issue. And if you now look at the position after bishop c5, queen
check,
d7, yeah, if I now go here, I've got queen f5 actually. Oops.
check,
I probably have to go here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I read this wrong. I had this in my notes. I have to go here, and now there's no queen trade with queen queen d6. Yeah, I mean bishop c5 really. No one is going to find that, and this is the problem with h4. If you play g4, you don't have those problems. The thing is also to see why this h4 configuration is such a problem. Look at the game.
check,
In the game,
check,
after this now, the pawns are all fixed here, and white's king is just stopping the whole operation here on the king side, or he's just holding the fort here, while the knight and pawn will win the bishop. Look at this. Yeah, and white won this this bishop here with the a pawn, and here you're just holding the king side. If you compare this, just for argument's sake, let's do it like this with g4. If we have the same thing happening, yeah, let's say the check,
check, check,
this check, then black always has this counterplay with h4. Let me look at this. Even h4 immediately. It's not necessary. You can just wait here and be okay. If white now tries to promote, you get rid of all the pawns, and this is what you cannot do with the pawn on g4 in the game like this. Here you have no chance to trade off this g pawn to get rid of the last pawn. Yeah, so Carlsen won this game at the end. A very yeah, lucky turn of fortune. Yeah, he was basically busted right out of the opening, and Grischuk had multiple ways to put him away, and at the end he stumbled in a position which really here, let's say about here, really should be drawn. But it happens. It's rapid chess, and yeah, this meant that Carlsen was going into the last round with a lead of half a point, and he had the best tie break, which I think was average rating, something like that. And so a draw was enough, which he managed to get relatively easily against Rajabov. So if you look at those three games isolated here from Carlsen, you could get the impression that it was a very lucky win of this tournament. In a way, it was lucky, as you have seen in the last game against Grischuk. If this would have been won by Grischuk, Carlsen probably wouldn't have won the tournament. But all in all, it was a pretty deserved win, as he had some excellent wins in the other games. Yeah, this is not isolated to one game, this event, or to two games, but to 15. Yeah, and he had won many games very convincingly on the first 2 days. He had beaten, for example, Caruana very convincingly. So it has been a good event for Carlsen, and that he actually won it was a tad lucky because of this final round game. Yeah, and what else? The second place was taken by Caruana, and third place by Anand. Vichy actually the only player of more than 100 contestants without a defeat. he also was close in one game. He had a very bad position against Caruana, which he drew somehow. So a very nice event, and if you are interested in watching video footage of the event, you can go to the official site of this Rapid and Blitz World Championship event. It's the easiest is to go to the FIDE website, fide.com, FIDE.com, and then you find some banners leading to the event, and there they have video coverage of the games, mostly the top board games, and you can see the players live. I mean, not live anymore. Obviously, it's recorded a broadcast from yesterday or the days before, but it's still interesting to watch them really playing the moves on the board, see the facial expressions and the motions that are connected to the game. Okay, I hope you liked the coverage of this Rapid World Championships. There's also the Blitz event taking place right after. I don't really want to cover Blitz games seriously on a video. Maybe if there's some really great stuff happening, I will do 1 or 2 games, but the easiest for that is if you are interested, just watch the videos that they have on the official site. As already pointed out, you will see plenty of games really played on the screen by the players, and it's just better to look at them really playing it out over the board. It's just more fun to watch. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.